Well, we come into the Spanish Grand Prix of this F1 24 career mode for the very first time in the entire series with a career-defining rivalry, which you guys would have seen at the very end of the last episode at the Canadian Grand Prix. Yeah, first time we've ever got one, and we actually got two career-defining rivalries, because we got one for the teammate rivalry and then one for the rating rivalry, both with our teammate Max Verstappen, obviously probably the hardest driver to go up against in terms of a career-defining rivalry. You know, this is like Lewis Hamilton levels to him in 2021, sort of, you know, career-defining. Obviously, we're a one-time world champion, Max a multiple-time champion, but we're now both in the same team, and, well, I've just come off the back of a race win. Obviously, Verstappen so far in the season has had the measure of us, but what a time to get a career-defining rivalry when we've just maybe started to find a bit of a groove, maybe a bit of form unlocked at the Canadian Grand Prix. But this is going to be a tough one. Catalonia tyre wear is high, and it's generally just a circuit that, you know, you can't really hide. The car performance really does determine how well you do, but this car has been going from strength to strength, and also track to track it could be dependent, so we're about to find out. I must say, in the last sector, you saw there maybe a little bit of opposite lock needed, as the rear end was just a little bit squirmish trying to get on throttle, so maybe that might be a challenge for us in the race come heavier fuel loads and tyre wear. But the initial lap was pretty good, faster than Yuki Tsunoda and Hamilton there in P2 and 3, but as we come through, Hulkenberg of all people's gone up there. He's now higher than Hamilton. Hamilton is up in third place. We're down to fourth. Leclerc's up there for Ferrari, maybe showing a little bit of one lap pace, but we know how bad the tyre wear has been for the Scuderia this so far this season. I have no clue who's on provisional pole. It may well be Max Verstappen, our teammate, if we just deduce from all the drivers left over, or it could even be a whole front row lockout for Haas. Who knows? Haas Cadillac have been looking great in places. BMW Williams as well. You may remember, I think it was Alexander Albon who was on pole position this time last season around here, as we just try and wrestle the car to go where we want. We've lost time. We gained about 1 to 2 tenths in Sector 1, lost it all in Sector 2 and Sector 3. It's a 0.004 improvement, and that will be enough to climb us a couple of positions, actually. That's how tight things were, but oh wow. Okay, for the second season in a row, I'm convinced there's something in the coding of this game and this career save with Albon in Spain, because what is that lap time? That is the glitchiest lap time I've ever seen. Hulkenberg, on merit, I think, is up there, because he's actually only just narrowly beaten at Hamilton and Tsunoda. We've beaten Verstappen in quali only by about a tenth of a second. He's down in P7, but once again, Albon on pole position. But like I said, I think there's something weird and funny going on with Albon and the Spanish Grand Prix. But nonetheless, the Williams is on pole. It's a Haas in second place, and the Toyotas are relegated to the second row. We're right behind him. So off the back of that win, where we did manage to defend against both the Red Bull Fords, we've got to be confident, and we've got to kind of be jumping at the fact that we've got them right ahead of us. You know, lap one, I want to be absolutely on it to try and attack them and try and offset them, and just, you know, ruffle the feathers a bit, as they're probably now a little bit destabilized after that Canadian Grand Prix. It's certainly going to be a very interesting one with the tyre wear. As I said, let's go to the grid for the Spanish Grand Prix. But first, a quick message from our sponsor. Yep, this video is sponsored today by JBL Quantum. Now, you may have noticed over the past year, I've had these bad boys on. These are the JBL Quantum 1. I use them every day whilst I make videos. They're super comfy. The gameplay audio always comes through super crisp because of active noise cancelling. But a huge deal for me, and maybe any of you budding content creators out there, is the ability to split audio very, very easily. So I can dynamically record raw gameplay audio and separately any chat or microphone. A literal lifesaver if you're a creator, especially if you're recording with other people potentially. And also, to be fair, that's super handy just if you want to adjust the audio levels of the game versus chat if you're playing with your mates, for example. Speaking of which, when I'm not recording videos and I'm just playing with mates, I have a pair of the JBL Quantum 910 wireless headphones. I use these in my living room when I'm playing on the PS5. Super convenient having a wireless because my sofa's quite far away, so it'd be too long for a cable to fit. And also with excellent battery life, it's like over a week between charges, which is ideal. And JBL Quantums are just fantastic for gaming, but also when it comes to music. Now, I'm a huge drum and bass fan, so having such a high quality headset that gives you that extra crisp audio when you're blasting out bass space while I'm either listening to it in this office or in the living room is great. So check out JBL Quantum with the link down below in the description. Thanks again to them for sponsoring this video.
So many eventful races here in Barcelona over the years. Do you remember Max Verstappen's first win on debut for Red Bull here in 2016? 2 years before, we had the dramatic coming together of Hamilton and Rosberg going towards turn 4. There's always a treat in store as we head back to the Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya for the Spanish Grand Prix.
So no penalties to talk about ahead of us, so it is indeed Albon on pole and Hulkenberg in second. I only say that because you might remember back in the Imola GP, Hulkenberg actually did get on provisional pole for Imola, but then had a grid penalty, so never actually saw that into fruition. So yeah, it's not the first time Hulkenberg's actually done an absolute stunning qualifying lap in the Haas Cadillac, but this is the first time for BMW Williams to be right up there, and maybe this is the start of some really good results for that outfit. And you know, Piastri's P6, so it's been a very good day all round for the entire Haas team, so they may be very competitive overall. I spoke about tyre wear, saying that the strategy actually, my engineer thinks we can pull off a one-stop medium to the hard compound of tyre. Maybe a lot of others are thinking the same, as a lot of them are starting on mediums around us, and we've got Alonso, a bit of a road choice on the hards behind. So I guess maybe it's a case of stubbornness from all the teams of not wanting to make that second stop, where it is quite a lot of time around Catalunya to actually come into the pit lane, even though you might be so much quicker on a soft tyre at the end of the race or here at the start of the race. It's maybe just not worth it in these later seasons. I think you always see that, you know, the strategies in a weird way kind of get a little bit less complicated as we go on through the seasons, as obviously the upgrades have come in for tyre wear, even coupled with the higher tyre we've seen in this season with these year's Michelins. I mean, either way, it's guaranteed to be a very interesting opening lap here with the Williams on pole, Haas on the other side of the front rows. We go to 5 red lights, and the Spanish Grand Prix is underway. It's a really slow start for both Albon and Hulkenberg. You saw they're almost like a moving mobile wall in the front row as both Toyotas got caught up. We dive down the inside. It's an aggressive move. It was 3 abreast, and we've come out on top. We've overtaken Tsunoda and Albon. Hamilton has had a shocker. He's down to P6, and we're up 2 positions then. And, well, we stuck to our promise of wanting to really just go forwards and be aggressive with the Toyotas. We've got Tsunoda. Hamilton just had a mare. I think he basically got stuck behind Hulkenberg a bit too long, or Albon, sorry, and then kind of just fell away. And Piastri now has got the measure of him, as we see Albon now looking backwards rather than forwards as Oscar Piastri overtakes him for P4. It's 2 Haas Cadillacs in the top 4, so they are looking mighty quick at the start here. And actually, look at that, I've only just noticed Hulkenberg, sorry, is on the soft compound. He's one of one, I believe, in the top 10, but he's actually on soft, so maybe he thinks the best bet is just to run away with this in the first stint and hopefully not get bogged down with, well, the exact kind of fighting that Tsunoda is maybe going to be doing with me very soon, as he almost pushes us through that next section. He's going to have the DRS at this stage. He's going to open the rear flap. We go defensive to the inside, but Tsunoda has the overspeed. We lock up, trying to slow it down and not make a bit of an understeering, bit of contact with our ex-teammate from last season, and Tsunoda goes right round the outside of us for P2, but we've got now the chance to come back at him, such as the slingshot onto the main straight, and we've not lost too much time on the exit of that entire section. We're actually, in fact, right on the back of Tsunoda to go for the repass as it gets a little bit wobbly as we try and play a little bit of chicken with Tsunoda into turn 1 to see if he's going to blink, and he will, and we will get back up into second as it's now side by side for the 2 BMW Williams, and a swap between those two as Ocon is now up to P6. Albon is floundering, and speaking of, it's still absolute pain for the Ferraris. P10 and P18 for Charles Leclerc. It's P14 for Verstappen. He's had a grid penalty, so he didn't even start in P7 just behind me. He was way down the order, and he's stuck in a huge train of traffic. It's going to be a long day, and that is not the way Verstappen would have wanted to start this career-defining rivalry with me. He's going to be nowhere near us, and instead Tsunoda is all over the back of this. He's moving left to right, doesn't know where he wants to go, and he's going to go straight into our rear end. What on earth has happened to Yuki Tsunoda there? He's got it all crossed up, and now he's caused a huge pile-up in Sector 3, and there's a red flag because of it. What on earth was that movement? That was the last thing I was expecting. I was actually just, preparing for an inside defense, basically like the one we did before, and where he overtook us with, and instead he just got it all a bit crossed up and basically misjudged where I guess I was braking, where he was trying to brake, and where his nose was, and he just nose-dived it into us. And behind, he's caught up quite a few people. Fernando Alonso braking his front wing as he tried to get round the outside. That's a little bit idiotic from the AI, I can't lie there. It's actually this lockup I determined. That lockup is actually the reason Tsunoda crashed into us, because that slowed me so much more than it would have done if my tyre just rotated into the corner. So pile up of a couple of cars with damage. Obviously with a red flag, everyone can repair and go again, but this has turned this one-stop race potentially definitely into a two-stop in terms of the fact that we're changing compound. But I think we might just stick with another set of mediums. Basically, this just means it's the same strategy, but you can just push harder now for this stint and then push harder on the hard compound. As we now reset and get ready to go again, revving up for 5 red lights for the Spanish Grand Prix now from lap 5 onwards. Lights out, and we're underway, wasting no time for those lights out. And it's a 1-2 here, sorry, for Haas Cadillac. Oh, that's pretty damn cool, but we're about to ruin the party and try and get into second place once again. We are 3 wide into turn 1, and it's a Williams on my outside, just like it was in lap 1. Deja vu, but this time, this Williams is going to commit to the outside. We're going to get the elbow and squeeze out Ocon, but Ocon is incredibly aggressive, and he comes in, punts us a little bit, and he's pushed us through and forced his way into second place. Hamilton has followed him through and tried to be a bit cheeky there. We're going to try and come back at the Toyota, but Ocon, probably seeing where Albon failed at turn 1, lap 1, has made up for it there with some uber aggression, as you'd expect from Esteban Ocon. He's done well for himself. He's in second, but it's Hulkenberg that still leads the way then. So Hulkenberg, cool, calm and collected no matter what the situation. He is really determined to try and run away with things in the first stint, but let's see how the pace is over the race distance. I feel like there's a sense that maybe now the one remaining Toyota, Hamilton, still has a very, very good chance, but he's got one problem, and it's me. Well, I guess I suppose 2, because Ocon's there, but I think I'm going to be a bigger problem for him in terms of defending. But I want to actually ideally try and overtake Ocon and then actually see what I could do versus Hulkenberg, because you feel like we should have the merits to try and close up to the Haas, but it may just be that one day in history where the Haas, or specifically Hulkenberg, is just too fast for anyone, because he does look absolutely on it. And I want to point out Piastri, what a difference, from car to car. We've got one Haas leading. Piastri was in second at the restart. He's down in like third last now. I think he had some damage, or he just had to pit, or what. Something happened, and he's down the orders. Hamilton overtakes us with ease. I don't know. I don't put up too much of a fight, though, because I literally had no battery to put any sort of fight, and I need to recoup some of that, as Hamilton, as you can clearly tell, is very much now the fastest man on track with the purple lap time. Ocon tries to give him the squeeze to the right. We lock up as we try and close up to these two, but we're just watching with a bucket of popcorn here as the two of them are side by side. Ocon is off-put a little bit. Can we maybe catch Ocon napping potentially, or even both of them, as we try and save battery in this case, being so close to those guys. Meanwhile, Alonso doing a great job in P5. Sainz P6, to be fair, is pretty damn high for the Ferraris. And Verstappen, he's just about made it into the points then, but he's on the softs. What are you doing, Max? He's on the soft compound. He's going to have to make a much earlier stop, and he's going to have to go a long, long way then on a set of hards, I imagine, or even worse, make it another extra stop. So a little bit puzzling for our teammate and career-defined rival as we dive down the inside of Ocon. That was the objective set to us by Mark there before lap 12, but I'm hoping we can maybe keep up with Hamilton, and that we will, despite no battery use. We're actually gaining just with the DRS, because that's how powerful it is. That Toyota has no DRS because Hulkenberg is sufficiently ahead, breaking that DRS still, which is very good news for us as we get very close to Hamilton there on the left. But that was, I feel, just within the confines of being allowed with that little squeeze. We'll go defensive to block off the inside, because I got PTSD from Ocon's dive bomb a couple of laps ago. But speaking of the devil, he's going to come around the outside again. My word, this Williams is out for blood Ocon back into second place. It's an insane overtake, to be fair to him, as he's done Hamilton with a bit of a switch from left to right, and then went round the outside of us then, as we were too preoccupied, just being a little bit timid, I guess, with the defensive work. We'll now look to try and repass him once again, but all of this has played into Hulkenberg's hands, as he's now, well, 3.5 seconds is that ahead of Ocon. We have now broken away from Hamilton. I think the Toyota is now starting to maybe feel some of that tyre wear that it has characteristically been feeling earlier than the Red Bull this season, at least so far. And we now have the track to ourselves, basically, to attack Ocon and hopefully actually fully see the back of him and try and pull away, as we've saved a good amount of battery on purpose here as we make the move with DRS in that sector to then really push away on that 13 and try and break DRS immediately on the Frenchman. And that we will do just about nearly onto lap 14, as Ocon instead has to look backwards. Hamilton on the inside. The Williams is aided a little bit with DRS. The two make contact. Hamilton really aggressive with that move, and he's up to third, but that fighting has just given me a bit of breathing room, because we're now 1.4 ahead of Hamilton, so we don't have anyone chasing us down with DRS, so we can sigh a bit of relief and try and just get our head down and see what we can do pace-wise versus Hulkenberg. 1.9 the gap is. Meanwhile, Verstappen has made that earlier stop from the soft compound. Oh my days, he's onto another set of softs. He's onto another set of softs. What am I seeing here? Does career-defining rivalry now just mean that their entire logical deduction of strategy work goes out the window? Is that what career-defining means? Being absolutely flustered into doing 2 soft stints around Catalonia? What are we doing here, Red Bull? What is Verstappen doing here? Incredible head loss from our rival and our teammate as we come onto the hard compound to go to the end of the race, the strategy you should be looking to do, and instead we come out and we see Verstappen on the top left there of the ladder. Yeah, 2 places behind on the soft compound. He's the fastest man. Can't knock him for that, but he is going to be coming in for another stop, which is why, as we make overtakes with that earlier stop, good undercut there, we see Hulkenberg down the road. He's actually gained time on us a little bit, Hulkenberg, I feel, on that in-lap of his. Verstappen is now the next car behind us, obviously going very quick on soft, so I'm not going to slow him down, even though he is our career-defined rival. He's my teammate as well, remember? And, I mean, okay, a little bit aggressive there from Maxi Boy, but I'm not going to put up much of a fight because, 1, he's my teammate, and 2, I mean, more so, I know he's going to make another pit stop, and there he goes. There he goes. Actually, to be fair, being my teammate doesn't mean anything because, obviously, we are now in a career-defined rivalry, so I do want to try and beat him very much so, more than ever. But, yeah, I just knew he wasn't going to be a nuisance. Who is going to be a nuisance is Fernando Alonso, of all people, who tries a little move down the inside, and that's not a one-off. Alonso absolutely on smoke here as he opens the DRS and goes for another chance to make a move on lap 24. Aggressive to the inside, and we actually don't put up too much of a fight because I'm confident we can re-overtake him. Meanwhile, the Ferrari of Carlos Sainz, the home favourite, Sainz is attacking the Toyota. Are my eyes deceiving me? This is a Ferrari looking okay again here in this season. Has Sainz found something? To be fair, Leclerc's P10 as well, so maybe this is a bit of a sign of improvement from the Scuderia in this race, because yes, Sainz is legit attacking the Toyota, and we're going to attack Alonso to repass him, and you can see here acres of battery and DRS pace to repass Alonso, and also Alonso, by the way, has a 5-second penalty, so it would have mattered anyway if he overtook us, but he's got that 5 seconds, by the way. You may notice Ocon's nowhere near us. I think Alonso got that 5-second penalty because he actually broke Ocon's front wing somewhere just before he came to attack us. So Ocon, it's a horrendous day for Williams. They've gone from having a man on pole and 2 cars in the top 5 to now 16 and 19, as we just saw Carlos Sainz overtake Hamilton for P4. For a Ferrari back? A Ferrari back? Leclerc's in P9 as well. This actually seems like a Ferrari with a bit of pace about it, maybe. And if Sainz can get closer to Alonso, he might be on for a podium with Alonso's 5-second penalty, but Hamilton will look to ruin the party. Sainz goes defensive to the inside. Hamilton on the racing line, back through into P4, and just getting into that 5-second region as... Oh, what a move for Ollie Behrman on the outside of Perez at turn 2. Fantastic move for the high-tech. Caught Perez napping, and he's up into P6. It's a great day for high-tech. P6 and P8 here. Very, very solid points for them as we are trying our best to hunt down Nico Hülkenberg. But the man is quick. The man is quick. I think it may be the German's day today. Meanwhile, Ollie Behrman now looking to ruin the party for Ferrari. Again, once again showing he is probably quick enough to be in that very Ferrari alongside Leclerc as Perez locks up, and he might even be a double pass for the high-techs on the McLaren as Logan Sargent all over the back of him as it's going to be onto the last lap of the Grand Prix. I've tried my best, but progress has slowed. I brought the gap down 1 second in the last couple of laps, but now it's kind of capped out at just over 2 seconds. I think this is finally going to be Nico Hülkenberg's day in the sun in Formula 1. He's finally going to win a Grand Prix. And remember, this is actually quite amazing. Remember this time last season, myself and Hülkenberg tried that insane early pit stop strategy in the wet around Catalonia, and we were both in the top 3, and then we both fell away. Well, this seems like a bit of repayment for how that Grand Prix went, with both of us now in the top 2, as Verstappen is trying just to get 1 championship point. It's a great move, to be fair to him, on the outside of Lando Norris to creep up into the points. It's still been a pretty solid day for Ferrari. Probably their best race so far in the season. Much better pace from them. It's another fantastic showing from Ollie Behrman, who sticks it to Ferrari in P5 there. The Toyota can only muster P4 on the road, but it will be the podium with Alonso's penalty. But all eyes will be on one man today, and it is Nico Hülkenberg, who is going to win in the Haas Cadillac. He wins the Spanish Grand Prix.
Nico Hülkenberg sees the checkered flag and can now say, in Formula 1, I'm a winner.
What a great way to turn the situation around. And you know what they say, it's not about how you fall off the horse, it's about how you get back on it. And today, they've done a great job of turning the page and rectifying their wrongs.
Haas are no doubt happy with today's performance, having secured the win here this weekend, and our drivers are making their way out for the podium celebrations as we speak.
Unreal race from Nico Hülkenberg. It was his day. It was his day in the sun. He was actually just rapid at every point in that race. I tried my hardest. I tried to catch him. We just couldn't, but second place is pretty damn great in the context of one Toyota DNFing, the other behind us. That's still pretty positive. Compared to how quick we know Toyota actually are, maybe in clean air, there's still a mountain to climb, and probably maybe too much of a mountain of 80 points to Toyota and the constructors, but we're just taking it race by race. It's one of those seasons where I feel like we're just trying to perform as best we can personally, and then we'll see where we end up by the end of the season. But the first race after our career-defining rivalry with Max Verstappen has gone very well for us. He had an absolute head loss. He absolutely bottled it in that race with some very odd strategy calls there. Guys, if you have enjoyed this one, then be sure to hit the like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you're around here, then do get subscribed for weekly Formula 1 content. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.